Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today, this video is going to be showing you some fun appetizer ideas. My oldest daughter is celebrating Boss Day tomorrow and she's supposed to bring homemade chicken salad, so I'm going to be working on that. And that inspired me to make other appetizers. I found this deal, this Brie cheese was on sale, and so I saw a recipe a while back where you take some puff pastry and Brie cheese and some red pepper jelly, and you make a red pepper jelly Brie pastry bite. So I'm going to be making some of those. And then my younger daughter had just said the other day that she really wanted, she said, one of those cheese balls with all the dried beef on the outside. So I'm going to be using this to put together a dried beef cheese ball. So this video is all things appetizers, party food, finger foods, whatever you want to call it. But stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. I'm going to start with this cheese ball. So I'm going to shred up 1 8-ounce block of cheese. And one of my followers suggested wetting the bottom of my grater here so that it wouldn't slide around. Yeah, it's still sliding around. But it's okay. We're gonna figure it out. I had several comments telling me what to do, so we'll figure it out. It'll be okay. All right, so there's half of it. Let's do the other half. Even though this grater moves around, it's a lot easier than a box grater, so I'm just going to figure out a way to get it to stick to my counter. My husband thought it might be my cutting board here, but maybe it just doesn't stick because of that. But all right, so there's my 8-ounce block of sharp cheddar cheese grated up. The next thing that this cheese ball recipe called for was 3 stalks of green onions cut. I'm going to take the tips off there, and I'm going to just slice up my green onions here. I love the flavor of green onions. And I was even thinking about trying to start growing some in a container garden. If you've got any tips on that, I would love to know. So I'm going to go all the way down here until I just have a little bit of white left. Put those to the side. And these pieces of chop. And so there's my green onion. Now I'm going to go to, let's see, let's start chopping our dried beef. All right, so to get all of my stuff together for this cheese ball, I've got 2 of these Philadelphia cream cheese 8-ounce blocks. They're room temperature. So I'm gonna get those into my bowl. I'm gonna add some cheese, some of the green onions. I'm gonna add some garlic powder and some Worcestershire sauce. And then we'll roll up our ball. Okay, so I've got my 2 blocks of cream cheese, room temperature here. And I'm gonna add in about half of this cheese. I said I only have a cup, and I think that about half is gonna be a cup. And then I'm gonna add in my green onion. Oh, it smells so good already. And then it calls for a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. I'll do that in my palm here. It's about half a teaspoon. Put that in. And then a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Looks good. Now I'm just going to give this a stir. Okay, so this is how I've seen to form your cheese ball. So I've got a bowl. This is actually a cup because I want it to be a little deeper. And I've got a piece of plastic wrap here. I'm going to put down inside this bowl. It might be easier to do it here first and then put it in the bowl. All right, I'm gonna try. So then you're gonna take your dried beef that you cut up, and I only use about half of that jar for the recipe that I'm using. I will link the recipe down below. I had a few little like scraps of the green onion and the cheese that were laying there with the dried beef. I'm not gonna stress about it. I'm just gonna put it right there with it. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my cheese mixture on top. This. And I'm gonna form it into a ball here in a minute. But I'm gonna put this on top. Like so. All that goodness. And this is where it's gonna get a little messy, because I'm gonna take this ball of cheese mixture and kind of form it like so. And then I'm gonna take this saran wrap that has all that dried beef cut up in it. I'm gonna wrap it pretty tight here. Try to get this formed into a ball. And I'm hoping it'll fit in this container, but not, we'll use a different one. But this is how I'm forming it into its cheese ball form, and then it's gonna set up in the fridge. So I'm gonna have to put that, yeah, that bowl's not gonna work. I want it to be a different bowl. So I'm gonna take my cheese ball here. I'm gonna sit it in this bowl, and I'm gonna put it in the fridge for the rest of the afternoon, and it should set up. So here's the beginning of my cheese ball. All right, so the next appetizer, party food, whatever you wanna call it, that I'm gonna be making is a chicken salad recipe. And we're just gonna be serving them with these sociable, spreaded, baked savory crackers. So I'm gonna start with the rest of my scallions. So I'm gonna trim the ends. Put those off to the side. And then I'm just going to chop these just like I did for the last recipe. I did put the ends, or root tips, of my green onions in a glass of water and set them in the windowsill. I saw where you can like regrow your scallions, so I'm gonna give it a try. We'll see what happens. But all right, so I've got that done. I'm gonna stick these root ends in my windowsill with the others. And now I'm gonna get to chopping my grapes. I'm gonna take these green onions, put them in the bowl. I need my food mover. Definitely need that. Rachel Ray taught me about this, and I'm addicted. I love it. I think it was originally just like a bench scrape, but she gave it a whole new purpose, and so I had to order one. They're not that expensive on Amazon. I want to say it was less than $10. So now I'm going to take some red grapes and cut those. So first I'm just going to pull them from the stem. I like celery in my chicken salad. I like apples in my chicken salad. My daughters prefer the red grapes. And so that's what we're gonna do, because that's what we have today. And so I'm gonna be cutting up some of these grapes. And I think I don't know if I should quarter them or half them. I think I'm gonna quarter, just because it's gonna be dipped with crackers. You don't want it to be super huge. So I'm just gonna quarter them. And that's a tedious job. So I'm just gonna keep quartering these grapes. I'll get this in the bowl and then I'll come back. Okay, so I have about a cup of grapes quartered. I have 4 scallions cut up. Now I'm gonna use 2 cans of this, it's 2 12.5 ounce cans of this canned chicken. Now, I'm taking a shortcut. You could totally make your own chicken. You could have bought a rotisserie chicken, but I felt like taking a shortcut today. And This was something my daughter just threw on me, like, I don't know, this morning. So I thought I'd take a shortcut. So I'm just gonna get this chicken combined with the grapes and the scallions, and then we'll add our dressing parts. So let's see how this all combines. It's gonna make a pretty big portion. She's taking this to a work party. It's Boss's Day, and so she signed up to bring chicken salad. Of course, she asked her mom to make it for her, which is fine because I enjoy cooking and I got to make a video about it. So I'm just going to combine these ingredients. Oh, and I meant to, let's do some salt. Let's do some pepper. I like to add just a smidge of mustard. If I had some Dijon, I would have preferred to use that, but I was out. I thought I had some, but just a little bit to give it just a little bit of tang. And then I'm gonna add mayo until it gets to the right consistency. So I'm gonna do 2 little scoops, stir that up, and then see where we're at. So just stir all the wet ingredients into our chicken, scallion, and grape mixture. Smells really good. It's looking pretty good. I think as it sits, it's gonna get even more creamy, so I don't want it to be too watery. So I'm not gonna add any more mayo. So there is our chicken salad. Okay, so for this next recipe, I've got my mini muffin tin here. It has 24 mini muffins. I've got my oven preheating to 375. I'm gonna spray this just so we don't have any stick. And then I'm gonna take one of my puff pastry that I got from the freezer section. I only need one. It comes with 2, so I left the other one in the freezer. Okay, for this next recipe, I'm gonna be making red pepper jelly Brie pastry bites. Something new, not tried before, but I had used this red pepper jelly on a charcuterie board a couple months ago. Was not sure about it, but OMG, it's really good. So I had that I wanted to use, and so I thought, let's try this recipe. So I have my mini muffin tin, has 24 slots. I sprayed that with nonstick spray. And now I'm gonna take my puff pastry that I have thawed. The box is in the freezer section, and it normally comes with 2. And so I just left the other one in the freezer. So there's 3 kind of columns here where it was folded. So I know that I'm gonna need to get 24. So I'm gonna go with 8 per column. So I'm gonna go down the middle. It may not be exactly perfect. And then I'm gonna go down the middle again with each of those pieces. I'm just doing this with a pizza cutter. And then I'm gonna go up. And it should be making 24 little puff pastry pieces. So I have a little piece about like that. You could use this with crescent dough. I did some other little mini bites with crescent dough, and I wanted to kind of check out what I thought about the puff pastry. So I'm just gonna stick these little squares down into my muffin tin. I have my oven preheating to 375. And the only other reason that I'm doing this recipe is that I found this Brie. I don't normally buy Brie, I mean, it's expensive. I found this Brie on sale in my deli section in my grocery store, and so I thought, hey, this would be a great time to use up that pepper jelly, try out some puff pastry, and even try out some Brie. So that's what we're doing. So I'm taking each of these little puff pastry pieces, and I'm just putting those into my tin. Then I'll come back and show you how I add the Brie and the red pepper jelly. Okay, so I have all of my puff pastry in here. I've started cutting my Brie. Now it has this rind on it, and I'm not used to buying Brie, so I cut the little rind off. I guess that's what I was supposed to do. If I should have done something different, please, by all means, leave me a comment below and educate me, because I'm not used to these fancy cheeses. But I'm just cutting little squares here of the Brie. And then I'm going to be placing these squares into the little pastry cup. So I'm going to add that. And so I'm just going to keep cutting up my Brie, and I'm going to come back and show you how to put the jelly on top. Okay, so now I have my puff pastry in my mini muffin tin with the little pieces of Brie. And so I'm going to take just a little dollop of the jelly. And this is red pepper jelly. And it's not spicy. It's so surprising. And I'm just putting like one little dollop on there, like not even a bunch. And it's supposed to melt together. Now, if you wanted to get fancy, I did see where some people put like a little sprig of rosemary on top. Yeah, I'm not that extra. This is as extra as Mandy gets. So I'm just putting a little dollop of pepper jelly on each one of these Brie slices, and then we're gonna get this in the oven. So I'm gonna continue doing the jelly, and then we'll come right back. So here are my finished little pastries. I did read on the recipe, you could use any kind of jelly topping. You could use orange marmalade, raspberry preserves, strawberry preserves, blackberry preserves, whatever, cranberries at Thanksgiving. That would be a neat little appetizer for a Thanksgiving meal. So I'm gonna put these in the 375-degree oven for about 15 minutes. I'm just looking for this dough to brown. So we'll check back in 15 minutes. So these are those puff pastry Brie bites out of the oven. I've never worked with puff pastry. So it's like covered up the Brie and the little jelly, and then some of it's run out here, you can see. So I think maybe I put too much. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna let them cool, and then we'll remove them and we'll kind of taste test and kind of see what we think. But I will say this, they smell amazing. So if they taste anything like they smell, this is gonna be good. So this is the finished cheese ball. It was amazing, and we served this with some pita chips that were sea salt flavored. Very delicious. Here's a picture of my plate with all three appetizers. The Brie and pepper jelly bites were delicious, and the chicken salad was amazing. If you like the content of this video, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This is All Things Mandy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.